Hello viewers, and welcome to the first adventure pack of the Dwarrowdelf cycle of adventure packs, which is the Redhorn Gate. This is the latest installment of the LOTR LCG Progression Series, a production by Cardboard of the Rings, the bi-weekly podcast about the Lord of the Rings the card game, which is a living card game by Fantasy Flight Games. My name is Mitch, and joining me as always is Matthew.
Hello?
So, Matthew, why don't you introduce us to this first adventure pack?
Before I get to the narrative portion, it's I think worth noting that the stories told by Khazad-dûm and the Dwarrowdelf cycle are related, but they're distinct. And the designers of the game said that if this were a movie or a piece of literature, Khazad-dûm would be the prologue, the part of the work where the major conflict and the villain are introduced in a visceral way. Mostly the nameless fear that we encountered in our last playthrough video. And the party that adventured through Khazad-dûm is not the same party that ventures through the Dwarrowdelf cycle. And interestingly, the only evidence of the former party that adventured through the Khazad-dûm quests will be the burned and frozen remains that lie under the snowdrifts as referenced in this quest stage 2 of this particular quest, the Redhorn Gate. So when we get there, maybe we'll be sure to sort of point out the card art and the flavor text to see our dead heroes from the Khazad-dûm quests. With that said, the narrative story for the Redhorn Gate deals with Arwen, who wishes to visit her father Elrond, and Celeborn has bid the heroes to escort her over the Misty Mountains and safely to Rivendell. But the season grows late and a sudden chill has descended on the three peaks that guard the Redhorn Pass.
Well, with our narrative covered, the way that our story is represented in terms of game mechanics is escorting the subjective ally Arwen Undomiel throughout these three quest phases. This is going to really be putting a lot of our questing characters to the test, as there are a ton of willpower reduction treacheries and various cards of that nature, like condition attachments. We've got to make it through these three quest phases and end up accumulating 5 victory points in order to win. But before we go ahead and talk about these mechanics in depth, why don't we go ahead and take a look at our player decks. So, much like in our playthrough of Flight from Moria, I'm going to be running a Tri-Sphere deck, but my heroes are a little bit different this time. So I've got Dane, as always, benefiting all the dwarves on the table by granting them the boon of +1 willpower and attack. I've got Beravor, who's going to be instrumental to trying to dig through both of our decks as quickly as possible to get a lot of willpower bolstering and card advantage effects, and I've got Eowyn as the just most powerful questing character in the game. I've got a host of dwarf allies, notably the Miner, to get rid of condition attachments, and then just a lot of characters to take advantage of Untroubled by Darkness. I've got some threat control effects, some readying effects, and I think that about says it. So Matthew, what are you going to be playing this scenario?
So the interesting thing about this quest is there are some really nasty, tough enemies. And at the same time, when you get into the second and third quest step, you're really penalized for having low willpower characters. They're not able to trek through the snow-covered mountains. So my deck is going to be sort of risky in the sense that because I know we need to kill some big, nasty enemies, I'm including my usual tactics, Gimli and Thalon, as well as a lot of the allies you've come to expect from me. But a lot of them will be punished once we get into those later quest stages. Otherwise, I added Dwalin, who's new to this deck, to give me some spirit cards, Untroubled by Darkness, like Mitch has, as well as Unexpected Courage, Ancient Mathom, and those sorts of things. So we'll just have to see how my low willpower deck turns out.
Well, now that both of our decks have been introduced, why don't we go ahead and shuffle our decks and draw our opening hand of 6 player cards. So hoping for the best. It looks like my hand is alright, but I'm really praying for resource acceleration, so I'm gonna mulligan. How is your hand?
Well, I'm a bit concerned in that I only have one tactics card and it's an event, but the spirit cards are all just so fantastic that I'm really hesitant to get rid of them. So I think I am going to hold on to my hand.
Okay. Well, mine is certainly far from perfect. I've got a couple leadership cards to boost our questing ability. One is a reliable attachment here. I've got a couple cancel shadow effects. I also have unexpected courage and also a questing ally. I guess I'm going to end up having to use Barivor to just dig and dig and dig and try to get that Steward of Gondor as quick as possible, just in case Arwen isn't enough to smooth out my Tri-Sphere deck here. So not the best start for me, but probably far from the worst. But I suppose, shall we go ahead and make myself the first player?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and click my first player button, and now that we've gone ahead and drawn our opening hands, let's take a look at the quest setup portion of this scenario. So quest phase 1A is we add Karadrus to the staging area, we remove all copies of Snowstorm from the encounter deck and set them aside out of play. Put Arwen Undomiel into play under the control of the first player. So, taking a look at Karadrus here in our staging area, it's a unique location with 3 threat. It takes 9 progress tokens to complete. This doesn't actually become the active location until the 3rd phase of the quest, and while it's active, all characters in play committed to the quest get -1 willpower. And what's really frightening is during our 3rd quest phase here, characters are discarded from play if their willpower is ever 0. So this is going to be a little bit of a balancing act. Like Matthew said, for example, so long as I keep Dane ready and Veteran Axe Hand isn't committed to the quest, it's not going to be discarded. Unless we happen to draw one of these treachery cards like Snowstorm, where it suddenly changes things. So, when revealed, each questing character gets -1 willpower until the end of the phase. We're only going to end up shuffling 3 out of these 5 copies into our encounter deck, and we don't actually do that until we get to the 2nd phase of the quest. The only other thing to keep in mind from that opening quest card is we have this objective ally Arwen Undomiel, who's not only going to be contributing 2 willpower to the quest, but she's going to be changing, so she's always under control of the first player, and as soon as she exhausts, we pick a hero to gain 1 resource. The only problem with her is since we're escorting her through the Redhorn Gate, as soon as she leaves play, we lose the game. So if her willpower happens to be reduced to 0, or whatever it happens to be, we've automatically lost the game. But with Quest Phase 1A covered, we're going to go ahead and transition to 1B, and this reads, when revealed, reveal 1 card from the encounter deck per player and add it to the staging area. So making sure that our encounter deck is shuffled, card number 1 is going to be a Black Uruks. So when revealed, the first player, myself, must choose and discard an attachment from a questing character if able. So this doesn't do anything, but this is a pretty nasty enemy that 3 defense is awfully hard to wear through, and of course since Thalon isn't committed to the quest at this point, there's no free point of damage here. Our second card revealed is a Mountain Goblin. So this gets +1 attack for each mountain in the staging area. Karadrus, of course, is a mountain, so this is currently attacking for 3. So we've got a couple nasty enemies out here right off the bat, and of course the Mountain Goblin is going to come tangle with us right away. So with that said, we've currently got a total of 6 threat beginning the game against us, and let's take our very first turn. So let's do our resources, and let's draw a card. I ended up getting an Istari that might come in extremely handy. I'm going to go ahead and have Barivor draw myself a couple cards right away. And I will pay 1 lore resource for an Erebor Record Keeper. And then it's all you.
I cannot play a single thing.
All right. Well, I suppose that is going to end up bringing us to questing. So something to keep in mind is that if things go terribly wrong, I've got a leadership dwarf event that can boost willpower, attack, and defense. But we might need that to overcome this mountain goblin. So just something for you to keep in mind. I don't know if you have any sort of events in hand to help you deal with that when it comes into play. Or if it, comes and attacks you.
The mountain goblin? Yes, I will be able to deal with him.
Okay.
Provided I can defend against him.
Right, and I guess that's the big question I had for you.
Yep.
Okay, well, then for committing characters to the quest, I suppose I'm going to go ahead and commit 3 characters for a total of 8. And for Arwen's resource, I'm going to go ahead and throw that to Eowyn.
Okay. I am only going to send Fallon for a total of 2.
Alright, so we're going to be looking at a total of 10, and let's go ahead and see what we reveal. So encounter card number 1 is a Mountain Warg. So this is going to be coming and attacking me, but at least I'll have Dane as a defender. And the trick with this guy is if it gets a shadow card with no effect, it returns to the staging area again and again. It does take 1 damage from Fallon at least. Card number 2 is going to be a Mountain Troll. Dear God. So the staging area is just full of enemies. This has the same ability as that Mountain Goblin, and it does take 1 damage from Fallon. Hopefully it's going to be a while till we have to deal with this guy, but that's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 threat against us, and unless we want to ditch cards to Eowyn, it looks like we're not going to make any progress. And I'm okay with, stalling a little.
Right, yeah. Breaking even is... I don't want to get rid of anything I have, so...
Okay. Alright, so for our travel phase, we can't actually go to Karadrus until we get to the end of the 2nd quest card, beginning of the 3rd, so these enemies here. The only one that's going to come engage with us is the Mountain Goblin, and of course this Mountain Warg is going to come to me. So do you want to optionally engage the Goblin?
Oh, well, it's not really an optional engagement, because if we did checks, you would get the Wargs, and then I would get him, but yes, I will take the Goblin.
Alright, so Mountain Goblin comes down to you. It's got 3 attack. Let's go ahead and do our shadow cards, the Warg and the Mountain Goblin. For this guy, I guess one thought that runs through my mind is I could do an undefended attack, assign it to Dane, cancel any shadow effect, and then try and swing back with 5 because of a leadership event to kill it, but I can't guarantee...
4 damage? That's a lot.
Right, and I guess actually Dane would be 1 shy, and if it got a no shadow effect, it would return to the staging area, so I'm just going to defend with Dane. Let's see what the shadow card is. And this is actually one of 2 victory point locations that we really need to find in this encounter deck, so neither of us have Shadow of the Past, which is too bad, so that's going to go in the discard pile. Dane is going to be exhausted and take 1 damage. So how do you want to deal with Mountain Goblin?
So he needs to go to back to the staging area, yeah?
Oh yes, so the Mountain Warg, of course, does return to the staging area.
And I'm going to defend with Gimli.
Alright, so this attack is going to be 3 with a shadow card. That is nothing. So, condition attachment gone. I guess Gimli takes 1 point of damage. And what do you want to do in return?
Kazad!
Perfect.
Dwallin will attack for 5, which is just enough.
Cool.
And to all of you on the Cardboard of the Rings Facebook page who say he is worthless, he has just now killed an orc on the first turn, and I get to lower my threat by 2. So, shout out to all of our listeners there. Or viewers, I should say, there.
Yeah, fantastic. All right.
Yeah.
So, I guess...
Well, although, interestingly enough, this could end up being a bad thing, with my threat being lower than yours, because more things are coming down to you, and I can only optionally engage so many. But be it that as it may, I'm excited to see his ability go off.
So, shall we do our refresh?
Yep.
Alright, so refresh, I'll make you the first player, so Arwen goes over to you if you want to take control of her. This version of OCTGN automatically increases our threats. I'll draw a card, I'll do my resources. So what are we going to see from you for planning?
So I am going to play a copy of Citadel Plate on Gimli.
Thank God. And on my turn, I'm going to end up giving Gimli some additional actions.
Okay. And there is an action advantage card I would love to play. There is a spirit ally I would love to play. However, I do have quite a few cancellation effects in my hand. So I'm also wanting to save the resources for that.
Well,
and I know Arwen gives me a resource, but if we need to cancel a when revealed and a treachery and a shadow effect, I wouldn't have enough.
Well, I guess if you want to go ahead and play your ally now, you could certainly take care of when revealed. If one happens, I can cover shadow effects myself.
Okay, then I will go ahead and pay for a Sigil Miner.
Okay, great. So it's going to be another couple willpower for us. Okay, I think I'm going to yet again trigger Barivore on myself, hoping to pull what I didn't get. But I did get a copy of our Bolster Dwarf Questing Characters event that's going to be very handy later on. So I will go ahead and strip 2 resources to go ahead and do Unexpected Courage on Gimli. And since you're the first player, you're now at risk of the Black Uruks forcing you to discard attachments from questing characters. Just something to keep in mind.
Okay.
For my remaining resources, I could put out a powerful attachment for a questing character, but then I wouldn't have the resources required to lay down a steward if I happen to draw one next turn, and that's what I'm really hoping for.
Well, we're up against 9 threat in the staging area, and we're going to add 2 more things, so that's quite a hefty sum. And I still do not have cards I want to discard to Eowyn.
Well, I guess since we are up against that much threat, maybe I'll regret this, but why don't I go ahead and do Calabrian Stone? And I almost want to make sure that one of us has a lot of attachments, you know, so to somehow try and circumvent this Black Uruk's ability. So, do you think I should put it on Thalin, or should I put it on one of my characters? I guess I'm just not quite sure what to do.
Well, I mean, Thalin is always going to be questing.
Right. I
I
guess
assume much like Eowyn would,
if you were going to be questing with Gimli, at least you've got something you can get rid of now.
Yeah, I'm certainly not questing with Gimli anytime soon, so...
Right. Well, alright, I guess I'll just leave it on... maybe I'll end up... I think I'll put it on Eowyn.
Okay.
Alright, so, final option there. So, are we ready for questing?
Yep, I will send Thalin for 2, Arwen, I don't control her, so he will tap her for me for
Sure.
2, and then Sigil for 2, so a total of 6 for me.
Okay.
And I'm going to put the resource on Dwalin.
Alright, and for me, I'm going to go ahead and do Eowyn for 6, Erebor Record Keeper for a total of 8, and that's going to make 14 between the two of us. So let us see what we end up getting. So staging card number 1 is a Freezing Cold. So the first player attaches this card to a hero he controls. They get -2 willpower, can't commit to the quest, so I guess, do you probably just want to slap this on Gimli if he's not going to be questing?
Yep. And let's hope this can get removed by the time we get to the mountain's peaks.
Yeah.
3rd quest step.
Well, hopefully. I guess as I'm plowing through my deck, I'm hopefully going to pull out a minor. And there's
and I suppose if Dane's in play, Gimli will always have 1, but
right. And
Dane can't then be ready. Yeah. Exhausted.
Right. Well, I guess shall we do the second card? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So staging card number 2. Oh, dear God, is another enemy, which is the Mountain Warg, and its allies cannot defend while Snow Warg is attacking. And this is engagement cost equal to your threat, so we're going to have to deal with another couple enemies this turn.
Yep.
Alright, well, it looks like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a total of 12 threat that we're against. We've committed 14, so we're going to make 2 quest progress this time, thanks to Calabrian Stone, I guess. I am not interested in discarding cards to Eowyn.
Nope.
Okay.
Me either.
Well, then travel again, we have no option for engagement. I suppose Mountain Warg is going to come down to me. Snow Warg is going to come down to you.
Yep.
And let's go ahead and do shadow cards. So starting with you, and then myself, how do you want to deal with Snow Warg?
Let's see, attacking for 3. I will have Gimli... Oh, I don't control Unexpected Courage. I'm going to take control of that, and then just ready him.
All right.
And so he'll take an instant damage because of its effect.
Sure. And then its shadow effect is... attacking enemy gets +1 for each progress token on the active location. So this doesn't do anything.
Yep, but Gimli will still take another damage.
Right.
A little scary there.
Yep, so fortunately he does have 9 hit points, and he's at this point able to swing for... Well, I suppose he'll be swinging for 5, because I've got to have Mountain Warg, defended by Dane. And once again, there is no shadow effect, so the Mountain Warg is going to deal 1 damage to Dane, and it is going to return to the staging area. So what do you want to do?
Gimli will kill the Snow Warg.
With Dwalin, I suppose, to trigger his... Oh, well, not
He's not an orc. Yeah.
Right, all right. Yep, so Gimli there swings for 5, kills Mountain Warg, and it is gone. So now we can rely on allies defending for us again.
Yep.
So I suppose, shall we refresh? All right, refresh. I'll be first player. I'll draw a card. Do my resources. I'm going to have Barivor draw another couple cards for me. Don't
forget to take Arwen over to your side.
Yep, thank you for reminding me.
And I would love Barivor as soon as humanly possible, because for whatever reason, this Khazad-dûm cycle is cursing me in that I'm always drawing cards that are exclusively of my, what I'll call the minor sphere hero. I've got a Hand of Spirit, cannot play a thing.
Sure. Let's see. For my turn, I suppose I'll spend 1 resource off of Barivor, and I'm going to do another Erebor Record Keeper. And let me see. I don't think I'm going to end up doing anything else for my turn, but how about you?
Well, I said I couldn't play anything, which was kind of a misnomer. I can play an Unexpected Courage, and hopefully Arwen will throw a resource my way. The question is, so I can pay for some cancellation.
Right.
The question is who this should go on. Any of my characters, I think it would be decent. Dwalin to maybe attack some more. Problem is, I have a handful of spirit, so nothing to boost his attack in the short term. That would be the same problem with Thalon. He just doesn't have that much attack power. His defending is okay. It's equal to Dwalin. So I think that I am going to put it on Gimli just because his attack power is pretty high, and I'll be able to get, get quite a bit of attacks out of him.
Okay. Well, and hopefully we'll get rid of that freezing cold soon, so Gimli can start maybe doing some questing if we manage to clear out our staging area here.
Right.
So let's see. Another thing to consider is I've got an ability to drop an Istari into play. So at the present moment, I don't think there's any extreme need to get rid of an enemy. These black Uruks are going to pose less of a problem to me than, say, the Mountain Warg if you want to steal that. Mountain Troll itself isn't going to be pestering either of us too quickly, but I suppose let's commit characters to the quest and see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and send a total of 12 myself. We're only up against 2, 4, 6, 9.
And then is it alright if I take Arwen's resource?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and throw that to Dwalin there.
Alright, and then I will just send 4.
Okay, so that's going to be a total of 16. Nothing too terrible happens as soon as we get to our second quest phase. So let's see what we get for staging. Card number 1 is a Rocky Crags, which is a 4-threat nasty location. Card number 2 is another godforsaken Snow Warg. So this is going to be a little bit of a problem because allies, of course, cannot defend while it's attacking. Alright, well, we're up against 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we're going to end up breaking even. So for travel, our only option is this Rocky Crags. It doesn't look like the best choice to travel here, but I do have a couple different attachments that could net you 6 cards next turn.
Okay.
All we have to do is just a couple damage to a character we control, which I can stomach.
I could kill my Sigil Minor, I suppose.
I suppose you could. You could also deal it just to maybe Dwalin or Thalon, just because
Yeah, there's no healing in our decks, though, and having to defend so many things with heroes and direct damage by these Snow Wargs, I'm a little hesitant to put any damage on heroes that I don't have to. So I think if we travel, I'm just going to kill my Sigil Minor.
Alright, I guess the loss of any dwarf character just is really a shame for the final quest phase, but if that's your decision, I can't change your mind. So for travel, I guess let's do Rocky Crags. I'm gonna go ahead and put those 2 points on Eowyn. I don't think there's any sort of like global damage effect, so I think that's pretty safe. And let's see, for engagement, I think I'm going to end up taking advantage of being able to sneak an Istari into play, so I think I'm going to go ahead and optionally engage the Mountain Warg, then the Black Uruks will by default engage with me, and the Snow Warg will by default engage with you. For combat, let's go ahead and do a shadow card, starting with the Black Uruks, then the Mountain Warg, and then the Snow Warg. I think at this point I'm going to go ahead and pay that 1 leadership resource of Dane Ironfoot for a sneak attack.
I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me.
And I'm going to go ahead and pick Gandalf and set him into play here. So, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Mountain Warg as the recipient of that 4 damage, just because that is an immensely frustrating creature. So that is going to be killed outright. Its shadow card is going to be discarded with no effect.
Yeah. He would have gone back, and of course it's a victory point location.
Yes, and this would have allowed us to drop our threat by 11 and get rid of all copies of Freezing Cold, so I don't really care to see that one go. And then for the Black Uruks, I suppose the best I could do is 1 damage to this guy, which is pretty miserable, but if I ever get a Dwarrowdelf Axe, I can maybe end up killing it. I'm going to have Dane defend, reveal that card, which is, if this attack is undefended, which it's not, deal 2 additional shadow cards to the attacking enemy. So Dane takes no damage. How do you want to deal with your Mountain Warg?
Gimli will defend.
Okay, so Gimli's going to take 1 damage automatically.
Yep.
And the shadow effect is nothing once again.
And then he takes another damage.
Right.
Scary, scary.
So,
and then,
4 hit points left, and let's see. I guess Gandalf is going to take a swing and deal 1 damage to this Black Uruks, and I assume Gimli kills Snow Warg?
Yep.
Alright, so Snow Warg is gone. And that is a ton of enemies we've seen thus far.
Right.
But we've only got 5 threat in our staging area, down from 16, so it can't be all bad. So, I suppose, shall we refresh? Alright, refresh. Into the round, Gandalf is going to go away. Arwen will go to your control, because you're now first player.
Yep.
And draw a card, do resources.
Are you planning on using Beravor for yourself again? Because you guessed it, folks, I drew another spirit card.
Okay, what I was planning on doing is I was going to have you draw 6 cards as soon as we can travel.
Well, I could make it 9. Because that's what I drew.
Okay.
Which, you know what? Well, I mean, I could save 1 for you. Well, we don't have another location.
I'm fine with just using Beravor on myself. If you draw 9 cards, hopefully that's just going to be everything good in your deck.
Right. So, yeah, I'm going to pay 1 to put an Ancient Matham on whatchamacallit, the location here.
Sure.
And that is, as usual, all I can do.
Alright, sounds good to me. And for my turn, what I think I'm going to do is I'll have Beravor draw myself a couple cards, and I finally got the steward I was looking for. I'm just 1 resource shy of being able to pay for it. I'll take 2 resources off of Eowyn, and I'm going to go ahead and play Ancient Matham number 2 and Ancient Matham number 3. So as soon as this location pops, you'll draw 9 cards. For the rest of my resources, in the interest of giving me a character to block this Uruks, I'm going to go ahead and pay 2 resources off of Beravor, and I'm going to put into play a Erebor Hammersmith. And I don't suppose you have any attachments in your discard pile?
Nope.
Yeah, and I don't have any myself, so that is all I'm going to do. And for questing, what are we going to see here?
I will send 2... 3, 4. Oh, if you want to exhaust Arwen
Sure.
for me, I'll send a total of 6.
Okay.
And I'm going to put the resource on Dwalin.
Okay. So hopefully you're just going to get a cascade of fantastic cards.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm going to commit 4, 10, and that's already a total of 16.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably pretty good. If worst comes to worst, we can always ditch cards. So, staging. Card number 1 is a Bitter Winds. So the first player must discard 3 resources from each hero he controls.
Yeah, nope.
All right. So, cancel.
Test of will. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And card number 2 is a Warg Lair, which, when revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of Mountain Warg and add it to the staging area, then shuffle the encounter deck, but after this location leaves play, we draw a card. So let me search for another one of those wonderful Mountain Wargs.
How annoying.
And I'll put it into play. At least this will give you an enemy to play with this turn. So.
Oh, gee, fun.
All right. So, hopefully, somewhere in those 9 cards you're going to draw, you'll get another Citadel plate, but we're up against 2, 3, 4, 5, a total of 8. So, we're going to make 8 progress. Let's do 2 on our active location, which is going to be explored, and 6 is going to spill over onto Up the Pass, which just sounds funny. All right, so we're 1...
So I will...
Yeah.
Yep, I'll go ahead and draw... What am I drawing? 9 cards, right?
So I'm going to take 2 of these and put them in my discard pile.
Okay. Yay for leader or tactics.
And the last one is going to end up going in your discard pile. Kind of a shame I had to play the Hammersmith when I did, but yeah. And we're 1 shy of passing this quest phase, so we might want to have to slow down a little bit just because we've yet to come across the other victory point locations. So for travel, do we want to go to this Warg Lair?
Sure.
Okay, so make that the active location. For engagement, let's see, do you want the Mountain Warg?
Sure.
Okay, so save me from it. Now, for combat, let's do a Shadow card to the Mountain Warg, Shadow card to Black Uruks. How do you want to deal with this?
Gimli.
Okay, so Gimli. I guess I didn't ask, did you end up getting anything good in those 9 cards?
Oh, yeah. Sure did.
Great. So, Mountain Warg. Attacking enemy is going to get +0 because there are no progress tokens on the active location.
Yep. So, Gimli takes 2 damage.
And it remains in play with you. So, my attack. Black Uruks attacks. Erebor Hammersmith defends. Shadow card is, let's see, I guess +2 attacks, so it's going to be 5 damage.
Yeah.
I could cancel that.
It's just killing it's going to kill your thing anyway.
Well, it's actually not going to. It should be 1 shy.
Oh, right.
So I am actually going to cancel that just in the interest of making sure we keep as many dwarves in play as we can. So.
Okay.
All right, so Mountain Troll is good that we're not going to be seeing it. Hasty Stroke is gone. Erebor Hammersmith takes 2 damage. What do you want to do for attacking?
My Warg is more than destroyed.
Okay, so your Warg is obliterated. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do against my Black Uruks unless you ended up drawing a Khazad.
Nope.
Damn.
I did not.
All right, well, then I guess that's it. So we might as well refresh. And you'll make me first player. I'll snag Arwen. I'll do my draw a card, and I'll do resources. And for my planning, I'm finally going to go ahead and pay 2 off of Dane for a, let's see, Steward of Gondor on Beravor. I'm going to go ahead and trigger that, give her 2 resources, and I'll pay her 3 for a Rivendell Minstrel. And I'm going to go ahead and search my deck for a Song of Travel, add it to my hand, shuffle my deck, and let's see, I've only got the 1 resource left. I suppose I'm not really going to benefit from drawing anything, so shall I have you draw?
Nope. I mean, I certainly could, but...
Well, I guess I could try and dig for cancellation effects.
I don't need to draw. I have some.
Okay. So I'll use that on myself.
Okay.
And I ended up getting some pretty decent stuff, but not cancellation things. So I can still take care of one shadow effect on my turn.
Okay.
So what are you going to be doing?
6, 7, 8. 8 resources. So the first thing I'm going to do is play another Citadel Plate on Gimli.
Okay. So he is just loaded up with attachments.
Let's see. I'm going to play 2 copies of the Vassal of the Windlord.
Okay.
And I am going to hold off on my 2 spirit resources should we need cancellation.
Okay. Well, one of those vassals would certainly enable one of my dwarves to actually kill this Uruks. So that could be handy. And I suppose that does it. So shall we commit characters to the quest? Okay. So let's see. I guess it's going to be pretty hard not to make 4 progress. We're up against 5. I definitely am going to do Arwen. I suppose I'll also do Eowyn, and that's already 8. If you make it 10...
Yeah, I'll just send Valen.
I suppose maybe should I also send a record keeper? Or, well, I guess we can discard if we need to.
Right.
So why don't we just do 2, 6 on my side. Oh, and then Calabrian Stone makes it 8. You'll do a total of 10. All right.
And then for Arwen's resource?
For Arwen's resource, I guess, are you in dire need on any of your characters? Like, is there
any nasty enemies coming down?
Well, I guess the mountain troll we don't have to deal with, but my threats
unless there's some sort of doomed or something. I mean, I certainly could play a combat trick if we had to deal with something that we can't deal with, but I have no tactics resources.
Right. So, should I throw you a resource?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I'll go ahead and put it on. Yeah, sure. Thalen there. All right. So, with our characters committed, let's go ahead and reveal one card, which is Fallen Stone. So the first player picks one. Remove all progress tokens from play, or reveal 2 cards from the encounter deck and add them to the staging area. So
I could certainly cancel it. That would be an option.
Well, I guess for me, I'm kind of tempted to just reveal the additional cards, just so we can maybe come across that victory point location.
Okay.
So and maybe this will be bad, but I think we should reveal the additional cards.
Okay.
So, all right, so 2 additional cards to the staging area. Card 1 is a Bitter Winds, which this is going to strip 1 resource off of one of my characters. Not a big deal. Nope. So that's gone. The second card is a Mountain Goblin, so it takes 1 damage, and the third and final card is a Rocky Crags. So we have committed a total of 10 to the quest. We're up against 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I suppose it would have been nice to have an additional, 1 willpower beyond what we could do with Eowyn. Do you have any interest in discarding or no?
No.
Okay. Well, then I suppose we might as well just hold off. This is definitely a scenario where it can go relatively quickly, or it can be awfully long as we're just digging and digging through the encounter deck. So hopefully we're not going to lose our other victory point location as a shadow card. So I suppose we'll just leave it at breaking even, and for engagement, we've just got 1 enemy that's for sure going to come down and engage with us, and it is going to come down and attack me, this mountain goblin, unless you want to take it.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll put that down to you, and for combat, we'll do shadow cards, first player first, and then yourself. So for this black Uruks, I suppose I'm going to defend yet again with Dane, and then I suppose if you end up having it available, a vassal and my Hammersmith could end up killing it, but it does not end up getting a shadow card, and that I was really concerned that was our last victory point location. So no damage to Dane. How do you want to deal with your mountain goblin?
I'm going to have a vassal defend.
Okay, and the shadow effect is the attack is not undefended, so it doesn't deal additional shadow cards, and it's looking like it gets +2 attack from the mountains in the staging area. So Vassal's killed.
Mm-hmm.
For my turn, I'm going to go ahead and have my Hammersmith attack the Black Uruks. And your Vassal is able to boost it from 1 to 4, which is going to be enough to add 1 damage and kill that character. So, and what do you want to do with your Mountain Goblin?
I will attack with Dwalin and Gimli.
Alright, so that's going to be enough to kill the Goblin, and your threat is going to drop by 2 because of Dwalin.
Yep.
Alright. Well, I suppose at this point, shall we refresh yet again?
Sounds good.
Alright, refresh. I'll make you first player. I'll draw a card.
So guess what I just drew? That would have been super nice when all those eagles were leaving play.
Horn?
Yep. So I am going to put the horn on Dwalin.
Okay.
Oh, I need to do my resources. Boop and boop. And so that's 1 off of Thalon. Then I'm going to pay for a veteran X-Hand. And I will put an... Oh, well, I'm first player, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, I wanted to play an Ancient Matham, but I wanted you to get it. But I still don't have a lot of any tactics cards. So, and then I'm going to pay 1 for an Ancient Matham on our active location.
Okay. And the card I drew this turn actually made me realize that when I played that Sneak Attack Gandalf, I actually just discarded Gandalf instead of returning him to my hand. So I'm going to go ahead and pop him back into my hand at the moment. I'm going to trigger my Steward of Gondor to do an additional couple resources on Barivor. For my turn, I'm going to go ahead and have Barivor draw myself another couple cards, and I ended up getting a Cancel when revealed, which is hopefully going to be super useful once we progress a little bit further into this scenario. Let's see. For my other actions, I suppose I will pay 1 spirit resource to do a Song of Travel on Barivor. And I think I'm going to spend 2 resources off of Barivor for an Unexpected Courage on Dane Ironfoot. So, again, thinking ahead, this is just going to help us hopefully just tear through that final quest phase if we ever make it that far. And I think that's all I'm going to do this turn. I'm sitting on a lot of allies in my hand, but I don't think I want to play them quite yet.
Okay, so I am going to commit Thalon for 2. Arwen, if you want to tap her for me for 2. I'm going to give the resource to Thalon in case we need some tactics tricks this turn, so I'm sending a total of 4.
Alright, so you're going to send 4. I suppose we're probably going to tear through the quest this turn. I suppose I'll send Aowen. I might as well send my Minstrel. I'll just send a bunch of characters. I'll send 2, 4, 10. I'm going to go ahead and send both of my record keepers, so I'm going to send a total of 12.
Okay.
Alright, so it's going to be a total of 16. Let's see what we get for staging. Here's praying it's the victory point location. Card number 1 is another Mountain Goblin, which takes 1 damage from Thalon. Card number 2 is a Fell Voices. So return the top 2 snow cards in the encounter discard pile to the top of the encounter deck. If this returned less than 2 snow treachery cards, Fell Voices gains Surge. So let's see here. Let's see if it does any. So, not seeing any quite yet. I think all of these snow cards are... Oh, wait a sec. The snow wargs are snow.
Yeah, the freezing cold that I have is snow, but we haven't seen any more of those.
Right, so return the top 2, and then it's going to gain Surge
there's only
because there's not the treachery cards. There's 1. Well, no, I guess it'll do Avalanche.
But we've seen 2 snow wargs.
Right, so there's the snow wargs, and there's an additional 2.
Oh, but
Avalanche and freezing cold that it's going to return. Do we want to cancel that? That just seems hideous.
Well, I mean, we know what's coming up. Oh, so that would be the next card, whatever we know is on top. Do you have a cancellation?
I do, yes. So I suppose I don't have the resource to pay for it.
Yeah, you do. You have Barivor.
Oh, yes, I do. Song of Travel. All right, so yes, 1 resource off of Barivor for a test of will. I guess Song of Travel was hidden there behind a couple cards. So I'm going to cancel that. Again, probably not the greatest use for it, but I don't want all that garbage clogging up the encounter deck. Well, that is our staging. So we're going to be up against a total of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've committed 16, which means we're going to end up making 6. So Warg Lair is going to be explored, and that's going to be 3 progress tokens on Quest Phase 1B.
So I get to draw 3 cards.
Yep. And as you're doing that, we transition to Quest Phase 2B, and this is shuffle 1 more copy of Snowstorm into the encounter deck than the number of players in the game. As soon as we place the 11th progress token on Snowdrifts, we discard any active location, and Karadrus becomes the active location. So let me go ahead and put these in our discard pile. And what's really too bad about this is we've got 12 cards in there, we don't want to make more progress than we have to, and we still have to find that other victory point location. So without any way to sift through the encounter deck, that's a little bit irritating. For travel, we certainly could go to this rocky crags.
I don't particularly want to deal 2 damage to any of my characters. I know it's 4 threat, but...
Yeah, I guess the threat isn't too much of an issue since we have so many characters. I certainly wouldn't mind getting rid of something that's not too useful anymore, like my Rivendell Minstrel. Since there aren't any direct damage effects, I feel like you are completely safe to put it on either Dwalin or Thalin.
Yeah, I could play a Wizard Friend next turn that I would be more than willing to put the damage on.
Okay, well, I suppose we could certainly wait, so...
Yeah, let's do that.
Alright, so I guess for travel, we're going to go ahead and skip on going to the Rocky Crags here. And then for engagement, I suppose...
Well, I will optionally engage the Mountain Troll, and then the Mountain Goblin will come down to me by default.
Okay. So those will both go down to you. Going to combat, let's do 1 card for the Mountain Troll, 1 card for the Mountain Goblin, and both of these guys are going to be getting +2 attack strength.
Let's take care of the Mountain Goblin first, and my Veteran Axe Hand will defend.
Okay. Its shadow card is nothing, and we haven't seen our victory point thing, so I guess...
And he dies, and I trigger my horn.
Right. And then what do you want to do for Troll?
I am going to feint the Troll.
Okay. So it's going to take a swing of, it looks like 11 to kill.
Yeah, and so I'll take care of the Mountain Goblin first, Dwalin, and Gimli will attack.
Okay. So that's going to be a total of 10, 13 damage, I suppose, which kills the Mountain Goblin. And then are you going to have enough with Gimli? He's just going to be swinging for 10.
Gimli, he swings for, 10.
Okay. Which is going to be 1 shy, it looks like?
Yep. Which is fine.
Whoops, I put on 1 too many. Okay, well, I guess the Mountain Troll lives. Its shadow card is, again, fortunately not that victory point location. So, I guess refresh at this point? Alright, so refresh. And if you would make me first player, I'll grab Arwen, draw a card, do resources, trigger the Steward. I suppose I'll have Barivore trigger on myself. Let's see, I got another cancel when revealed, which should be pretty nice. I suppose I will pay 1 off of Dane for a Campfire Tales, if you want to go ahead and draw a card. And other than that, I think I'm going to go ahead and just sit on what I've got.
Alright. So, what's his name has 2 restricted attachments already.
Yes.
So, Dwarrowdelf Axe is going to go. There it is. Is going to go on Dwalin.
Okay.
And that's all I'm going to do.
Alright.
Well, actually, I'm just going to go ahead and pay the 3 for Bofur.
Okay. Alright, so he's going to be sitting here on the table with his 3 willpower. And at this point, What's so tricky is we don't want to quest too quickly, just because it just seems like this last quest card is going to be a little bit irritating. But I guess so long as we get rid of Karadrus, it's not going to be too big of a deal. So,
Okay.
All right. Well, with planning done, why don't we go ahead and do questing? So I'm definitely going to send Arwen, and I'll put one resource on Dwalin, just to make sure you're eventually going to have plenty of resources to pay for those untroubled by darkness. And we don't want to commit too many, so we're up against 7. I'll definitely do Eowyn for 8. I guess I could do a Record Keeper, which brings it to 10. And I'm hesitant to send a little bit more than that. So you'd be doing Thalon to bring it 12.
Yep.
And I guess if we need to, we can just discard cards. Works for me, so...
Yep.
Shall we just settle for 12?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so card number 1 is a Fell Voices. Return the top 2 snow cards in the encounter discard pile to the top of the encounter deck. If this effect returned less than 2 snow treachery cards, it gains Surge. So I do have the means to cancel this. I don't know if you do.
I do, but I'm kind of saving it for the snowstorms.
Yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at our encounter discard pile. So, taking a look at this for snow. So, Fell Voices itself is not snow. Fallen Stones is not snow. Mountain Troll is not snow. Snow Warg is snow, so that goes to the top of the encounter deck. And... let's see, I guess the other Snow Warg is snow, so those are going to go to the top of the encounter deck. Because it did not return any Snow Treachery cards, it gains Surge, so let's go ahead and have it Surge.
Mm-hmm.
So our second card is going to be the other Snow Warg, and both of these are going to take 1 damage from Thalon, and that is our staging. So we're going to be up against 6, 10, a total of 13. We've sent 12. I suppose I'll discard a... I suppose I'll discard a West Road Traveler to boost up our willpower to a total of 13 combined, so we don't actually have to raise our threat.
Okay.
And then let's see here. I guess for travel, do we want to go to Rocky Crags?
Sure.
Okay. So, Rocky Crags is active location, and we've got to go ahead and pick a character to take 2 damage. I suppose I'm going to do Barivor. And who do you want to do?
I did Beaufort.
Okay, Beaufort, cool. Alright, so that is done for engagement. It looks like both of these... well, sorry, one will come to each of us, I suppose?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Snow Warg comes to me, and the other Snow Warg goes to you. So let's see here. Let's go ahead and do our shadow cards. So one for me, one for you, and another one for you. I'm going to go ahead and pay 1 leadership resource off of Dane for a sneak attack.
I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me.
And I'm going to go ahead and choose Gandalf. And I'm going to have him deal his damage directly to my Warg. So it is going to be killed, and its shadow card, which is our other victory point location, is going to be removed. It's going to be discarded with no effect. So looks like we're going to have to do some encounter deck digging. So how do you want to deal with your enemies here?
I am going to feint the Snow Warg.
Okay. So it's not going to be doing anything.
Mm-mm. And then Beaufort is going to defend the Mountain Troll.
Okay. And its shadow card is, until the end of the phase, characters defending this attack gets -1 willpower, are discarded if their willpower is 0. Of course it's not, but that's our first copy of Snowstorm gone. And the Mountain Troll swings for a total of 6 to kill Beaufort.
Yep, I triggered my horn, and so my attacks, let's see, Dwalin is enough because of his Dwarrowdelf axe to kill the Mountain Troll.
Okay. So he swings, Dwarrowdelf's axe response triggers, and immediately the Mountain Troll is killed.
And then Gimli, of course, is more than enough to kill the Snow Warg.
Right, so Snow Warg is killed, its shadow card is just a pretty inconsequential location, so that is gone. Now, at this point, we've kind of got to keep digging through the encounter deck, hoping to find a victory point location.
Right, so Gandalf is going to go away.
Right, so Gandalf bounces back into my hand. That's one resource for you. So, refresh.
Yep.
Alright, so refresh. Draw a card.
Oh, good grief.
I think you've made me the first player.
I didn't touch anything, so that must mean it's my turn to be first.
Alright, so...
And you have Arwen, so yeah.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and click you and close my discard pile here. Do my resources. Trigger my steward. I'll have Beravor draw myself a couple cards. And what are you doing on your turn here?
You're going to put Arwen on my side?
Yes.
I am going to play a Veteran Axe hand for 2.
Okay.
And that's it.
Alright. So for my turn, I'm going to go ahead and strip a couple spirit resources off of Beravor for Unexpected Courage on Dwalin.
Okay.
And I suppose I will also...
I assume you still haven't gotten that darn Miner of the Iron Hills.
No, I actually have not. So 19 cards left in my deck. I have not gotten a single copy. Although at this point, God, I'm just really wishing, I guess, for the first time that we had bothered to include Shadow of the Past. We got so lucky with Gollum not getting added back into the encounter deck. So let's see. I think that's all I'm going to do for my turn here. So for questing, who do you want to commit to the quest?
So I'm assuming we don't want to quest all that hard, because I don't want Gimli to be discarded the second we go to that thing. So we're stalling until we can get the miner?
Gimli isn't going to be discarded unless he's committed to the quest and Dane isn't exhausted. So he's got 3 willpower
Oh, I guess
to
that's
1.
true. Well,
Right.
Alright, anyway, I'll send Fallon, Dwalin. Well, let me control this because I'll just go ahead and ready him. And Arwen. So I'll send 2, 4, 6. And then I'm going to put a resource on Fallon.
Okay. So for me, I suppose I will also send a character that's worth 6. I'm not sure if we should actually really send any more than that.
Okay.
So I guess we can just leave it at that. So we'll send a total of 12.
Okay.
Card number 1 is a snowstorm. So each questing character is going to get -1 until the end of the phase. So I'm just going to put this down here to remind us that it's there.
Okay.
Card number 2 is a snow warg.
Good grief.
So that's going to take 1 damage from Thalin. It looks like you're only going to be contributing 3 to the quest. And I'm going to be doing 5. So it's going to be a total of 8. We'll make 2 progress, which is going to be enough to get rid of Rocky Crags. Or let me put Snowstorm beneath that. And then this Snow Warg is our only enemy in play. So for travel, nothing. For engagement, do you want to take Snow Warg?
Sure.
Okay. So Snow Warg is yours, and allies cannot defend against it.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and defend this with Gimli.
Okay. So he's going to automatically take 1 damage, and there is no shadow card.
Alright, so he takes another.
And what do you want to do?
Oh, Gimli will kill it.
Alright, so Snow Warg is killed, and shall we refresh?
Yep.
Alright, so refresh. I suppose I'll be first player yet again. Draw. Resources.
Well, I've got stuff to discard to Aowen now.
I suppose I got something that's going to help us quest even harder. I suppose I'll have Beravor trigger on myself yet again. I'll pay 1 resource for a Campfire Tales, so we'll both go ahead and draw a card.
Okay.
And I got some more discard fodder. Still no miner to speak of.
Good grief.
And for planning, I could just dump a ton of allies onto the table, but I'm just not exactly wanting to do that. They just seem a little bit fragile out there. But maybe I'll just spend 1 resource. I'll go ahead and put into play another Erebor Record Keeper. And I think that's all I'm going to do. So, take it away.
I'm not doing a thing.
Alright, so for staging, let's go ahead and I'll commit Arwen, I'll commit Aowen, just like last time, 8, and then I suppose you'll bring it to 12.
Well, Arwen's resource?
Right. Could you use tactics resources, I suppose?
Yep.
Alright, so add 1 to whomever you see fit.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, but I'll do Gimli.
Okay.
And then I will send 4.
Alright, so total of 12. Let's see what we get for staging. Card number 1 is a Freezing Cold. So first player attaches this to a hero. I'll stick it on Dane. He gets -2 willpower. He cannot commit to a quest. Actually,
Wait,
yeah.
No, you don't want to do that.
Right, let me go ahead and stick that to, I suppose Eowyn.
Well, yeah. I could cancel it.
I don't think it's worth it at this point. I think we're going to have such excessive questing ability once we finally get to the third quest phase.
So I guess Celebrian Stone's just negated.
Basically, yeah. And she can't commit to a quest.
Oh, well,
but I've got a ton of, questing characters. I've got a ton in my hand that I could play, so I'm not too concerned about this. Okay. But card number 2 is Snowstorm. So this is going to give each questing character -1 willpower until the end of the phase. So I believe you were sending 2 characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So their willpower is halved down to 2. Eowyn is now only going to be worth 3. And Arwen is going to be only doing 4, so it's going to be a total of 6. Karadrus is 3 threat versus our 6, so we're going to do 3 progress tokens.
Well. Hold on there, Buster. First off, I will discard a Horn of Gondor. Since Eowyn can't quest anymore, we might as well ditch what we can.
Well, I guess if we're going to try and ditch cards and progress through this a little bit more quickly, I'll also get rid of a Steward of Gondor. So maybe we'll just bite the bullet and push through and try and get to our final quest phase, destroy Karadrus, and then just hope this video isn't drawn out too long from the encounter deck. So I guess this is our staging. Shall we just go ahead and skip to refresh?
Yep.
Alright, so refresh. I'll make you first player. I'll go ahead and draw a card, give you Arwen.
I drew another damn Horn of Gondor. Do my resources.
And what for planning from you?
Not a thing.
Alright,
nope. No, there's things I could play, but their sort of interplay abilities just aren't going to help me all that much at this point, so I'm just going to hold off.
Okay, well, then I suppose for my turn, I'm going to go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 resources, and I'm going to go ahead and play Gandalf.
I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me.
And I'm going to go ahead and pick my threat, and I'm going to drop it down to 34. And that's it for me for planning. So shall we commit characters to the quest?
Yep, I will send 6 if you want to tap Arwen for me.
Okay, and I suppose we might as well try and push through this time, so I might as well send a few more people than I usually do. So I'll commit Dane, I'll commit my Hammersmith, I'll commit all my record keepers and my minstrel. So I'm going to go ahead and send a total of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to the quest. And I will have Barivor draw me a couple cards. Still no minor to speak of in the 12 cards remaining in my deck, yeah. Let's see. All right. Come to think of it, as I take a look to the right on my dual monitors here, looking at my deck list, I guess at some point, one of my iterations of my Redhorn Gate, I must not have actually included Minor of the Iron Hills in this version, so hopefully these freezing colds aren't going to be too terrible to us. Mm-hmm. But in any case, we've got a total of 18 willpower committed. Let's see what we get. Staging card number 1 is yet another mountain warg.
Oh, I don't believe I did Arwen's resource.
Okay.
Oh, I sure didn't, and so I'm going to put it on down.
All right, and then we've actually got to move our encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Let's go ahead and shuffle that, and we'll reveal 1 card. So out of the 37 cards currently in the encounter deck, we need to come across 1 of 2 victory point cards. Mm-hmm. So card number 1...
Oh, boo.
Or card number 2 is Black Uruk. So the first player, which is you, has to pick an attachment from a questing character and get rid of it.
I will get rid of my Horn of Gondor.
Okay. And that is it. So we've committed, we're up against a total of 7. We've committed 18. We're going to make 11 progress, which is going to put us at 16 out of 11. As soon as the 11th progress token is placed on Snowdrifts, we make Karadrus the active location. And now, when characters commit to the quest, they get -1 willpower. Something else to keep in mind is at the present moment we have to discard characters from play if their willpower is ever 0. So at the present moment, every character in play has at least 1 willpower, including your veteran axe hand, because Dane is ready.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we cannot defeat this stage unless we have 5 victory points, but as soon as we defeat this stage, then we've won the game. So how do we want to deal with these enemies here?
I mean, I can take the orcs.
Okay, so let's see here. The orcs you want because you can drop your threat.
Yep.
The mountain warg is going to be real difficult for me. I could defend it with Dane, I suppose.
Or Gandalf.
Right, and then it'll just sit in play with me unless it bounces back to the staging area. I guess I could kill it with Dane, but then that's going to... Well, no. Dane would only be able to do 4 if I boost up his attack.
But then bye-bye
Right, your veteran
Gimli
X
and Gimli.
hand and Gimli. Right,
So Dane cannot do any... Well, what's my threat? 32?
I guess, I mean, since you've got Gandalf's in your deck, you know, sorry to break it to you, but I'm not too concerned about your threats. I guess, do you want to take the Warg just because you might be able to kill it? Or what do you want to, you know... I guess you're the first player. If you want, you can take both of these.
Right.
You could even have Dwalin defend, just because I can cancel
Right.
shadow effects.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's fine.
Right.
I'll take both.
Okay, and as we've dug through the entire counter deck, there's no direct damage to speak of, so let's do...
Well, other than the snow wargs.
Right, you just, you know... So, alright. So how do you want to deal with these attacks here?
Veteran axe hand will defend the wargs.
Okay. So their shadow card is, I guess, discard 2 resources from each hero you control.
No, I'm going to hasty stroke.
Okay. So that is gone.
Yeah.
And it looks like your axe hand is going to be slain.
Yep.
And then the black Uruks.
He swings for 3. I only have 4 hit points left on Gimli. That's kind of scary. I guess Dwalin will defend.
Okay, so Dwalin defends. The shadow card is the... let's see, it gets -1 willpower. So he's currently at 1 willpower. He's not discarded. So that snowstorm isn't going to be doing anything.
No.
And Dwalin will take 1 damage.
Yeah. And then Gimli will kill both of these.
Alright, so Gimli swings, kills Mountain Warg. And Gimli swings, kills the Black Uruks. Alright, so shall we refresh?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so Gandalf leaves play. I'll go ahead and draw a card. I suppose you'll make me first player. And I'll do resources, which I'm starting to have just an obscene amount. How many cards do you have left in your deck?
19.
Alright, I'll have Barivor draw you a couple cards. And this is when we're going to want to make our big questing push. Mm-hmm. So how many copies of Untroubled by Darkness did you end up drawing?
2.
Okay, and I've got 1. So we're going to be able to play 3 of them, which is pretty cool. I've got a Cancel When Revealed that can also help us to overcome Karadrus if we need to. And let's see. For my planning, I'm going to go ahead and spend a total of 4 resources to do an Erebor Hammersmith. And let's see, what is the topmost attachment in your discard pile?
Oh, it's, I think, Horn of Gondor, which I don't need.
Alright, and mine is Steward of Gondor, so I'll return the, well, I guess you complain about your hand being crowded, so I'll return Steward of Gondor to my hand.
Right, and should you have to discard an attachment, I suppose, you know, not the end of the world.
Right, right, so, and then for my other 2 resources off of her, I'll go ahead and play a Sigil Minor, and that is it for me.
Alright, I'm going to play a Horn of Gondor, but this time I'm going to put it on Thalon.
Okay.
And then I'm going to play a Bofur. And then I'm going to play a Veteran Axe Hand.
Okay.
And then I guess I will play our Wizard Friend.
I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me.
And I'm going to draw 3 cards.
Okay. And
then, no, I'm not done. And then I'm going to play an Ancient Madam.
And I guess if you do that, you're not going to have... Well, I suppose I could have Arwen throw you another resource so you can afford the Untroubleds, if we need all of them, which we probably
Oh, well, there's no need to do it this turn. Oh, well, we want to make sure we get through Karadrus, but
right, that's what
I
I'm
have
saying.
no doubt that that's going to happen. And I drew another... And let's see, yeah. Arwen can throw me another resource, so I will play a Sigil Miner.
Okay. All right, so for questing, here's the trick. So, this card, Untroubled by Darkness, it doesn't give questing dwarfs +1 willpower, it gives all dwarves +1 willpower. So I'm going to go ahead and spend 2 spirit resources off of Barivor for our first copy of Untroubled by Darkness. So all dwarves at this point are getting +1 willpower. So your little Veteran Axe Hand sitting here is at 2 willpower. So when I go to commit characters to the quest, I can go ahead and commit Dane and ready him, so your Veteran Axe Hand never hits 0. It's got that 1 buffer.
Right, same with Gimli.
Right, same with Gimli. I'm going to do my Record Keepers, and I'll also do Arwen. The scary thing here is if we get an uncancelable snowstorm, she will die. But I'm going to send a lot of Dwarven characters here.
Are you going to give me her resource?
I suppose I can, sure. And, who are you going to send?
So what is your total?
So, considering Karadrus is the active location, I'm going to end up sending 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I guess a total of 15.
Which that in and of itself is probably enough. But of course, I will send Fallon for 2.
Okay.
I will send Gandalf for 3.
3, sure.
So that's 5. I will send the Miner for 2. That's 7.
Okay.
I will send Biffer for 2.
Mm-hmm.
That is 9, and that's all I'm going to do.
Okay. So, we probably aren't even going to need multiple copies of this. I just didn't expect to be on round 30 or whatever we are by now. So, let's put that in our little pile there. So, for staging, our cards are a Knees of the Mountain. So it gains Forced. After an enemy engages a player, it gets +1 attack strength till the end of the round. Not a big deal. Card number 2 is a Mountain Goblin.
Okay.
Oh, this quest is getting old. So we're up against a total of 4 threat. Looks like we're going to end up making 20 progress. So right away, Karadrus is going to be explored. So there's 9 points on that. Add it to our victory display. So we've currently got 3 out of the 5 points that we need. And then that's going to make 11 progress on the mountain's peaks. So there's no point in playing any additional copies of Untroubled by Darkness because we don't have the victory points. Hopefully, as FFG keeps designing scenarios, we move away from this mechanic here. So I suppose this Ancient Madam triggers. I suppose that was your control, but I'm first player, so let me draw 3 more cards here. Got 8 cards left in my deck. I ended up getting probably my last Cancel When Revealed, so 2 of those sitting in my hand. For questing, do we want to travel to this location here?
Oh, sure.
Alright, and for Mountain Goblin, how do we want to deal with this guy?
Oh, it doesn't matter, I don't think, but I can certainly take him.
Alright, so I'll toss him down to you. He gets a shadow card. I feel like I'm going to commit suicide if it's a 2 victory point shadow card.
I will have Gimli defend.
Alright, so Gimli defends. I guess right now it's just 2 attack strength. It's not going to be gaining any attack strength, so no damage. Do you have Dwalin kill it, I suppose?
Dane is ready, so Dwalin does have enough. The 1 from the Dwarrowdelf axe, and plus what he commits.
Alright, so that is going to be enough, you said? Right, a total of 5. essentially 5. Okay, so
Yeah.
Mountain Goblin's killed. You can drop your threat by a couple.
Why does it say that I lowered my threat by 4? I'm pretty sure I didn't. But in the chat log it says that. So, okay, since it looks... I mean, sometimes Octagon's a little bit buggy. It looks like I lowered my threat by 2, and then raised it by 1, then lowered it by 1. So I'm going to raise it just... I don't remember what I was at, so I'm just going to put it back up to 32, and maybe I guess I was at 34, don't really recall. But that at least will square away the chat log. So there we go, I'm at 32.
Okay, well, I suppose shall we just do our refresh?
Well, let's see. Gandalf goes away, Horn of Gondor triggers, and yep, we can refresh.
Alright, so refresh. I'll make you first player. Arwen goes over to your side of the table. I'll draw a card. I'll do my resources. Trigger my steward. I guess I got another copy of Untroubled by Darkness here.
Okay.
So, what do we want to do? I guess, are you planning anything?
Nope.
Alright, so I will do the same. So for questing, who do we want to send? I guess at this point, just so long as we have something. Our characters can't hit 0 willpower is the only thing holding us back, because then they get
I will
discarded.
send Thalon and Arwen for 4.
Okay. So I will do my record keepers, and I suppose my minstrel. So I will do, say, 8. So total of 12. Let's reveal cards. Card number 1, Mountain Troll, takes 1 damage. Card number 2 is a Snow Warg. I really feel like the Mountain Trolls should have 2 victory points.
Right.
Alright, and that is it. There's going to be 5 against us. We're going to make 7 progress, so 3 from the active location, and then 2, 3, 4 on our last quest card. So until we get those victory points, we cannot win the game. For engagement, how do we want to deal with these guys?
No, I don't care.
Okay, so considering that you're the tactics player, I guess...
I mean, is it... What are there? 35 and 28. So I'd have to optionally... Well, I'm not first player, so I can't take both. Oh, no, I am first player.
Right.
So yeah, I can take both. That's fine.
Okay, so I suppose we'll put those down there. I guess I can, at some point, have Dane take another couple points of damage.
That's
Again,
fine.
this deck was built with the... You know, assuming we weren't going to play a 30-round game, so I guess you can't have allies defend while Snow Warg is attacking. So, since it doesn't look like there's really any easy way for you to deal with that Snow Warg...
Well, if you... I've only seen one of my quick strikes. So, if you want to have Bearvor give me some cards, I only have 13 left. Maybe one of them will be a quick strike.
Okay, I suppose we could try that.
We can at least try it.
You could draw a couple cards.
Nope. So that didn't work.
Alright, so like I was saying, I'll go ahead and strip 1 leadership resource off of Dane. And I am gonna go ahead and... I cannot even find anything. My hand is full of so many cards. 19. I will play Sneak Attack.
I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me.
And I will choose Gandalf. So I will go ahead and put 4 damage on Snow Warg. It is killed. The shadow card is another Snow Warg.
At least it's not a victory point. Alright, Sigil Miner will defend the Mountain Troll.
Okay, Mountain Troll swings for 5. Shadow card is basically nothing.
He dies. My horn triggers. And he's not an orc, so it doesn't matter. Gimli... Is Gimli enough? 9, 10, 11.
12 with Dane. So that's enough.
That's enough.
Even without Dane, it would have been enough. So Mountain Troll is killed. Shall we refresh?
Yep.
Gandalf
Gandalf goes away. I get a resource.
Yep. Gandalf bounces back to my hand. I suppose you'll make me first player. I'll grab Arwen. I'll do resources.
Oh, good grief. Well, I have these poor little lonely Gondorian spearmen that I keep drawing, but they can't be played because they would just be insta-die.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put... Oh, am I first? No.
No. So let me go ahead and draw my last little card here.
Is it your very last card?
Well, no.
Oh.
But anyway, 6 left. I'll have Bearvor draw you a couple cards.
Okay.
I've got just a absolute mountain of resources. Gosh. I guess I'm not gonna threat cap anytime soon, so I'll play Campfire Tales,
Okay.
so you can draw a card.
Ugh, good grief.
Yeah, dear God, this is just getting absurd.
Right.
So
Still no quick strike though.
did you even include them in your deck?
Yeah, we used some earlier.
No.
Oh wait, no, didn't I take it out?
Well, that was a minor.
Oh, that's
the
right. I
Ideals
took
joke.
it out. So what? Yeah, never mind. That was what I took out.
All right.
Like, oh, we don't need this. Oh, good grief.
So
All
anything
right.
for planning?
Yeah, I have lots. So I'm going to play another Dwarrowdelf axe on what's his name?
Can I suggest something, if I may? Since you are increasingly wanting me to take enemies, do you maybe want to throw it to my side of the table?
No.
All right.
Okay, and then now feel free to take that one.
Oh, all right. Let's see. Who should I put this on? I think I'm going to throw it on my Erebor Hammersmith that is not wounded. So.
And then, let's see, what else can I do? Well, just for fun, I can play an Unexpected Courage.
Okay.
Who should we put it on? Who should we put it on?
I guess maybe Thalon?
Sure. He's not doing a whole lot now. So at this point, I could care less about the game because I'm over it. So I'll put it on Thalon. And that is it for me.
Yeah. All right. So for questing, I'm going to go ahead and do my record keepers. I'll do Arwen. I'll throw the resource to... Well, I guess you're not the first player, so your resources are safe from something like a Bitter Winds.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a tactics resource, I guess, on Thalon or Gimli, whomever you want.
No, I'll put it on Dwalin, actually.
All right. And I guess I'm probably fine just sending 8. I suppose I'll do 10.
Okay, I'll send Thalon and ready him for 3.
Okay.
I mean, for 2.
All right. So, let's see what we get. Card number 1 is a snowstorm. So each questing character gets -1 willpower until the end of the phase. That is not going to be the end of the world. Shall we just let the first one resolve?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't think this kills any characters. Nope.
No, just because Thalon still has his 1.
And card number 2 is going to be a Rocky Crags. So we've committed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on my side. Another 1 on your side, so a total of 6 versus this 4. So we're successful. For travel, I suppose we don't want to travel here?
Nah.
Alright, so I guess refresh.
Sure.
Okay, refresh. Your first player. Whoops, I missed. And there's Arwen. And let's do resources.
Yep.
I'll have Baravor draw you a couple cards. I've only got 4 cards left in my deck.
I now have 4 cards left in my deck. I will play a Sigil Miner.
Okay.
And that's all I'm going to do.
Okay. I suppose I will pay 2, and I will also do Sigil Miner. And that's it for me. So, questing, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Who are you going to send?
I will send 4.
Okay. I'll send 12.
And I'll give Dwalin the resource.
Okay, so let's see what we reveal. Card 1 is exhaust each ready character, and if it is the quest phase, commit them to the quest. So let me see about this. I guess this would kill Gimli, right? So Dane, it would basically result in Gimli's death.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have to go ahead and pay 1 resource to do a cancel when revealed on the Avalanche, and I've only got 1 more cancel when revealed in my hand.
Okay.
So, Avalanche is gone. Card number 2.
Come on, victory point. Boo.
A Warg Lair. So when revealed, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a Warg. Looks like a victory point location would have been 3 down, but let me find one of those Wargs. So here's a Warg. Close and shuffle the encounter deck. So let's see. The Warg is added to the staging area. So it's not revealed, so it doesn't take 1 damage. So there's those 2 locations. We've committed a total of 16. We're up against 7. So that's going to make 9 progress on our active quest, bringing us to 26. So, for travel, let's go to Warg Lair,
Sure.
and I'll swap them next turn. So,
Okay.
Mountain Warg, do you want to take?
Oh, sure.
Okay, Mountain Warg is yours. Here's the Shadow card.
Once he's swinging for 4, I'll have Sigil Minor defend.
Okay, Sigil Minor. Shadow card is nothing.
Ah, boo.
So Sigil Minor's killed. Your
Yeah.
horn is going to activate.
Mm-hmm.
And Mountain Warg returns to the staging area.
Well, that sucks.
Shall we refresh?
Yep.
Alright, refresh. And draw a card. I suppose I'll be first player.
Mm-hmm.
Do my resources. I will, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to play Gandalf.
I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me.
And I'm going to go ahead and drop my threat back down to 34.
You want to just kill that Warg?
Well, my threat's getting a little high. I don't know. I'm not too concerned. Well,
No.
I guess I could. I'll just...
You know what? Never mind. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry
Alright.
about it.
Okay, so I'll keep threat at 34. For planning, I'm also going to spend 2 resources off of AON for Westroad Traveler. I'll pull Warg Lair out of the active location slot, and I'm sure that when we defeated this earlier, we did not draw a card. And I'm going to go ahead and trigger Rocky Crags as our
I don't
active
remember
location.
if we did or not. But
So,
okay.
Alright, and that's it for me for planning.
Alright, I'm going to pay 4 for Citadel Plate for Dane.
Okay, that's different. But,
Well, you know, I don't need it. So, and I figured you can stop whining about defending. So, and I am going to... This will be...
well, actually, here's a question now that you mention that. Since
What?
his exhausting is going to end up killing Dane, should we
Oh,
throw that on
right.
maybe Barivor instead?
Oh, yeah, put it on whoever you want.
Okay.
That's true. I will pay 4 for a Descendant of Thorandor.
Okay, so that's 2 damage to this godforsaken mountain warg.
Yep. If Karadrus was in play, he would be 0, so he would insta-die, which would then kill the mountain warg, but
Right.
sadly that does not happen.
Well, you can commit it to the quest if you want.
Well, yeah, sure, I could.
Yeah. And the worst thing about this actually having a use is I encouraged you to leave it out of your deck, and now you've been validated. All right.
Yep. I almost wish she would die instantly. That would be a little more cool, but
Yep.
I guess that is it for me.
All right, so let's go ahead and quest. I think I'm going to go ahead and commit a total of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 to the quest.
Alright, I'm just going to do 2.
Okay. Did you want to commit your Descendant?
Nah.
Okay. Well, and I guess, yeah, its willpower doesn't drop, so... All right, let's see what we get for staging. 21 cards left in the encounter deck. Come on!
Okay.
Card number 1 is a Black Uruks. So the first player must choose and discard an attachment from a questing character. But, of course, the only questing character...
Yeah.
I guess you had Thalon committed to the quest, right?
Am I first? You're first.
Right, but I have to choose and discard an attachment from a questing character, not a character I control.
Oh, right.
So, do you want to get rid of Horn of Gondor? It seems like that's
Yep.
losing its
Sure.
value real quick. And then card number 2, please, is Bitter Wind. So the first player must discard 3 resources from each hero. That's not a big deal. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that is going to be that. A total of 5 threat. We are going to make 11 progress. So that brings us to 37.
Did you do the location first?
Oh, I did not. So let me go ahead and strip 2 of those. I'm paying less and less attention as this game gets longer and longer. So, active location is explored. Shall we make Warg Lair active?
Sure.
Alright, Warg Lair is active for combat. How do we want to deal with these
I
guys?
can take the Mountain Warg.
So, I guess I could just as easily... Well, I
Or
could kill.
whatever, I don't
I
care.
could kill either one of these, I suppose.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
So I'll let you have the Warg that you love. I'll have the Black Uruks come down to me. Let's do
Right.
shadow cards. I'm going to be so mad if it's a victory point. So Black Uruks, I will defend with, let's see here. I'll have, well, not Dane. That's a bad idea. I'll have this wounded Erebor Hammersmith defend, so... Shadow card is +0 attack. That Rocky Crags has got to be the most worthless shadow effect in the history of shadow effects. Erebor Hammersmith is killed. No Horn of Gondor in play to trigger. Mountain Warg.
So, if Descendant of Thorandor defends, it would die. And if it doesn't have a shadow effect, then the Mountain Warg would go back to the staging area. Could then defend Descendant of Thorandor that you triggered its ability because it's in this... They're like, how would that work?
So
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the FAQ has clarified that after it attacks means after step 4 of enemy attack resolution. So at that point,
it wouldn't work.
Descendant would be dead. The effect would have fizzled already. So.
Well, I don't particularly want to put any damage on any of my heroes. I'll just have Beaufort defend, just for fun.
Okay, so Beaufort defends. No shadow effect, so it's going to return to the staging area.
Yep, Beaufort dies.
Beaufort's dead. And then for me, I'm going to go ahead and I'll have Gandalf and my little Erebor Hammersmith swing and
although your Hammersmith is enough to do it on its own.
As is Gandalf, so... I guess that's that. Shall we refresh?
Yep.
Alright, refresh. Your first player. Arwen goes to you. I'll draw a card. And
I will play a Beaufort.
Alright.
And that's it.
Okay, so for my planning, I'm just going to go ahead and skip it. I've got another Istari I could play, but
do you want to move the West Road Traveler over to your side?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so for questing, Gandalf is gone from last turn. I'm going to go ahead and do, I suppose, 12, committed to the quest.
Yeah, even though you're out of order, I'll send 4.
Alright. Again, my give a damn is increasingly broken. So, let's see. Staging card number 1 is another Mountain Warg. Card number 2 is a Fallen Stones. So I vote we reveal 2 additional cards from the encounter deck.
Sure.
Okay. So 15 cards left. Card number 1, Mountain Goblin, takes the damage. Card number 2... Oh, finally! Fanweedhole. Fenuidal. Alright, so... Victory is in our grasp.
A weed hole, Mitch? Come on.
I was thinking back to that COTR episode.
Oh,
you know, fanweed. Anyway, oh god, it is getting so late. So, alright, so this is going to be a total of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 threat against us. Fortunately, we had the foresight to send 16 to the quest. I guess that's going to be 3 on our active location.
Yep.
And a total of 5, bringing our quest card here to 40. Yep. Response, after Warglayer leaves play, we draw a card.
Alright, I've got 1 card left.
Let's draw, same here. Oh my god, I'm so happy. Alright, so combat.
Yeah, whatevs, I don't care.
Okay, so let's see. I'll go ahead and do...
I'll be defending with Arwen so she dies.
Yeah, that would be smart. Mountain Warg to you, Mountain Warg to me, Goblin, Mountain Goblin to you. Let's do our shadow cards here. Just watch, one of them will be a victory point location just for fun. Let me put Fanweedall over here, where it's nice and safe. Oh, I guess obviously we want to travel there, so I'll make that the active location. And heroes must spend 1 resource to count their willpower during the quest phase.
Oh, well,
fortunately, we don't really need to commit heroes at this point, so...
Right.
Alright, how do you want to deal with these attacks?
Beaufort will do the Mountain Warg.
Alright, Glutton for Punishment, Beaufort is. Shadow card is nothing, so Beaufort is killed.
Yeah.
And the
Mountain Warg goes
Goblin.
back to the staging area.
Oh, that's right. God. So, Mountain Goblin is going to be swinging for 2.
Descendant of Thorandor.
Alright, so Descendant of... Well, it's such a shame that I guess I didn't give you the 2 damage Mountain Warg. Anyway, Descendant of Thorandor, there's no shadow effect, so it takes 2... I guess it's going to take 1 damage.
Yeah.
And then Mountain
in the staging area.
Warg. I'm so tempted to defend with Dane just to kill Gimli. Mountain Warg, I'm going to go ahead and defend with Sigil Minor. Its card is 2 attack, so it's going to swing with 6, and Sigil Miner is killed. In return, I'm going to go ahead and... Let's see.
Well, you can't do anything in return because it's my turn.
Oh, yeah.
So I am going to attack with Dwalin. His 2 Dwarrowdelf Axe are enough to kill this thing.
Okay.
I lower my threat by 2.
Okay. And for me, I'm going to go ahead and swing with Erebor Hammersmith, which is going to have attack strength of 3. It does 1 auto damage, and then it's going to have 1 attack greater than the defense. So Mountain Warg is killed. And refresh. All right.
And draw my last card.
I don't think we're even committing Arwen to the quest at this point. So, let's see. I'll do resources. I will also draw my last card, which was an Untroubled by Darkness. And anything for you for planning?
Oh yeah, lots. Let's see. I am going to play a Gandalf.
I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me.
Okay.
1. Oh, well, let me see. Let me see how I want to pay for this. I will not be playing... Oh, who the hell cares? So I'll use my tactics resources. Okay. I will kill the thing in the staging area.
You don't want to drop your threat to improve our score?
No, sure don't. I want to kill the damn Mountain Warg.
Well, alright.
It's more fun. At this point, with 9 things on Gimli, I mean, I could, but it's not the end of the world. Let's see. With my 4 resources... no, I will save all of my leadership. What the hell are they? Spirit resources for the quest.
All right. Okay, so for my last turn, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and pay 2 for an Erebor Hammersmith. I'm going to choose not to trigger its response. I will pay 2 for a Sigil Miner, and I'm going to do 2 more for a Westroad Traveler.
Okay.
So at this point, I've got in case this goes terribly wrong, I've got 1 cancel win reveal.
Oh, I've got a crap ton. Oh, well, if I'm first player, I should have Arwen. Alright, so I'm going to send Arwen for 2, Gandalf for 6, Thorandor for 1, Veteran Axe Hand for 1, and that's it. So that's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 8.
Okay, so for me, I'm going to go ahead and do Barivor for 2, Westroad Traveler 4, Westroad Traveler 6, Rivendell Minstrel 8. I'm going to go ahead and do...
Don't forget Barivor's resource.
So I'll pay 1 resource from Barivor, so Fanweedall, I pay that.
And I don't particularly need the resource from Arwen, so if one of your folks would like it, it's all yours.
Okay, I suppose I'll toss it on Barivor. So far, I'm at 8. I'm going to go ahead and commit... Well, I guess before I commit my dwarves, I'm going to do 1, 2, and I'm going to do one of those Untroubled by Darkness. So, let's see here. I suppose I'll leave... the other resources open just to cancel something. So these dwarves are going to add a total of 12, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21. So that should be a grand total of 29 that I'm committing.
Well, let's see. So, because +1. So then my Veteran Axe Hand is also at +1, so I'm really sending 9.
Okay. And I suppose that's it. Going into questing with 38. All right. So let's go ahead and reveal 2 of the 10 cards in the encounter deck. Card 1 is Fell Voices. So you've got a cancel when revealed.
Would you like to cancel it?
I certainly can, just because I'm in no mood to deal with digging through the encounter deck any further.
Okay,
so
perfect.
Fell Voices is gone. Card number 2 is a Mountain Troll, which takes... it doesn't take a damage.
And I am going to pay 4 resources to play 2 more.
Okay.
So I'm sending an extra 2, so I'm sending 11 total.
Okay, and then that's going to increase mine by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I'm going to send a total of 43 willpower to the quest. Yours, added to mine, is 54. Looks like we're up against 2. Our active location here is going to be absorbing 7. And that leaves 45 quest tokens to go on our current quest card. And I have actually forgotten what it was at. I think I'm supposed to bring this to 85. So, well, with that said, let's go ahead and add this location to our victory display, which brings us to a total of 5 victory points. At this point, we have 85 out of the 13 progress tokens required to explore this location. We have the 5 necessary victory points. So, Matthew, any final thoughts about the Redhorn Gate?
Well, this took us 16 turns, which is probably going to make for our longest video yet, or at least well within the running for one of the longest. I would say for the first half or so, I'm not really sure how long we've been recording this particular, let's see, it's about 2 hours or so. The first hour, I certainly enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I enjoyed any of the Khazad-dûm quests. The enemies are kind of cool, even though it's frustrating to have them bounce back. It's very thematic. It's very neat. I like a lot of the artwork. As a total sort of side note, yet it's related, my favorite part of Star Wars is Hoth. I don't know why, but as a kid, I loved the snow because it was so different for a science fiction movie to be in a snow environment. And so for whatever reason, my love of Hoth is transferred to anything that I do that has snow. And so I just love the snow, the winter environments when it comes to games. So of course, Redhorn Gate, everything's wintry. I love the little mountain goblin with his little wolf helmet-looking thingy, and, I think the mountain trolls are really cool looking, and I like all the snow effects. I think it's a very thematic quest, right? I sort of picture Peter Jackson's very well-done scene when they're on Karadrus and trying to get to Moria, and just how tough it is fighting against the snow. So, thematically, I think it's a great quest. I think it's good. For us, it was just frustrating because of course, there aren't that many victory point things. They probably should have given some of the enemies 1 or 2 victory points, so it wouldn't have been quite so tedious. So, I guess what I'm saying here is I really think this is a great quest. I think it's a lot of fun. We just happened to sort of get the short end of the stick in some senses, that we had to trek through the snow even longer. But hey, I guess we got lost in a snowstorm, and I suppose thematically that can make some sense.
Yeah, I think really the only thing holding this quest back is I was really having a blast playing it up until we started to, deliberately start stalling for time just because we weren't coming across any sort of victory point location. I think it certainly would have been great if they'd have created more opportunities for the players to attain victory points. I think the simple solution is there's 2 locations that have victory points. Why not take, I think, the 2 copies of Mountain Troll, slap victory points on that, so strong questing decks have an opportunity to win. Decks that are a little bit more combat focused aren't completely hopeless. There was an awful lot of just thought that went into our decks here, trying to create something to overcome the challenge of having Karadrus, potentially multiple snowstorms going off at the same time where all of our characters might get -3 or something like that willpower, discarded if their willpower ever hits 0. It's definitely a shame that for whatever reason the version of this deck that I made that had those Minor of the Iron Hills didn't end up getting saved, but, by the end of the game we just had so much stuff in play, it was just kind of... I was starting to get pretty impatient, so I've got to say I'm glad that it's done. I'm glad this is a one-shot. I think it was fun, but just like the Dead Marshes with Gollum escaping into the encounter deck, getting discarded as a shadow card, and later on, FFG kind of repeats this mistake, but this quest had fantastic potential, but man, I am really hesitant to, ask Matthew if he wants to replay this 2-hour-long affair, so...
Certainly not. I don't care how fun the quest is. I'm not sure I want to do 2 hours of it. And, the odds of having the 4 of the however many encounter cards be dealt to shadows or whatever, I suppose is probably relatively small, but maybe it's also great. I don't really know. But, it's definitely a good quest if the annoying thing doesn't happen. And so I would guess that more often than not, it probably isn't happening. So this quest is pretty fun.
Yeah, I guess even another way of doing it, just to add a final thought for me, is just make it a little bit more linear. So maybe it would make sense if, in order to approach Karadrus, maybe you have to pass through Celebdil or Fanwadal.
Right.
in a certain order. So
just
by
like one of the Khazad-dûm quests where we have to go. I think we have to go to the first three
right
locations
into the pit. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, by the time you work your way to the end of the quest, you've naturally accumulated those points or whatever it happens to be. But
yeah, the only other thing I think I have to say is Arwen is really never in any threat in this particular one. If my memory serves, the next one there's a lot more ways for her to be damaged when she's exhausted. But I mean, I guess if somehow her willpower got down to 0, which I don't think there is a way. I mean, there's the one that questing characters get -1, so I guess if you got 2 of those and couldn't cancel, she would die that way. But, you know, the whole escorting, if she leaves play, you lose. And this particular one, that seems pretty unlikely. That could have added some interesting effects to the game if there was maybe more ways for Arwen to sort of be damaged or whatever. But the escorting her is sort of a very minor aspect of this particular one, though they sort of, we'll see if that's the case in our next one where we have to escort her yet again.
Yeah. I think the simplest thing to do with her is just as an obvious fail-safe is once you've got Karadrus in play, because there are those dangerous snowstorms, you just
don't quest with her.
Yeah, just don't quest with her at all, and then she's fine, because otherwise even a single snowstorm is just murderous. But I don't think there's anything else I can possibly say about this scenario.
No, I'm just sort of surprised that I have 2 hasty strokes and 2 test of wills in my hand, but we got lucky with the snowstorms, I guess. I keep saying it's my final thought, but snowstorms have certainly been damning for me when I've played this particular quest before. We actually sort of got them at opportune times, it seemed like. So, not the end of the world.
Alright, well, for almost digging through the encounter deck twice...
Oh, and we also, this first time I've ever drawn all the cards in my deck, so lots of firsts, but not sure if they're good firsts. So.
Well, this is certainly going to be an epic video to piece together, so when this is finally released, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. For any of you that just stuck it through to the very, very end with us...
You're real troopers.
Yeah, exactly, you're true fans.
Right.
You've earned your stripes. So thank you guys, as always. Feel free to let us know in the comments below if you've had any different play experiences with the Redhorn Gate, or if you've played it once and never wanted to look back. Feel free to hit like on this video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to our channel if you have not done so already. Next up, we're going to take a look at the 1 new hero card and the 9 new player cards of the Road to Rivendell Adventure Pack, and we'll see you again soon.